Hello, beautiful people. Miss Beeching here. I'm going to explain to you in this video how to use substitution to check if your answers to solved equations are correct, part 1, and part 2 to use substitution to check if equations make sense in real life. So, does it make sense? Is it reasonable? And that's where we're going to be looking at in a little bit. So let's first do this first part. Let's check answers to solved equations. And I'm going to use a couple of different examples. This first one, let's say we've got this equation here. And we've got two different possible answers for this equation. So possible answer 1 is x equals 10. Okay, and then possible answer 2, and I'm just going to copy paste this. Possible answer 2 is something different. Let's say it's x equals 15. And I want to try and work out which answer is correct and which answer is incorrect. So I'm going to substitute both of these answers into our equation. So if we start with our equation, 2x plus 5 equals 35. Let's check this first one. So I'm going to say, all right, well, x is 10 in this case. So I'm going to substitute that in instead of x. And notice how I've remembered that there's a hidden multiplication here. Okay, and I want to check if it does actually equal 35 or not. So let's work that out. So 2 times 10 is 20. And 20 plus 5 is 25. Ooh, oh no, that doesn't equal 35. So I'm going to change these to not equal signs, because now I know by checking with substitution that x equals 10 is incorrect. That's not the right answer because it doesn't make the equation equal 35. So let's check the other answer and see if that one's correct. And we're going to substitute it in again. So 2x plus 5 equals 35. And this time x is 15. Okay, so 2 times 15 is 30. And 30 plus 5 is 35. Hey, look at that! It does equal 35. Fantastic. That means that x equals 15 is a correct answer or solution to this equation. And another way to put that is that x equals 15 makes this statement true, which means that this equation has the left side equal the right side. Because left side equals the right side. Cool. So now we know how to check our equations and see if which answer is correct. If your left side equals your right side when you substitute, that means it's going to be correct. And if the left side doesn't equal the right side, it's going to be incorrect. Cool. Okay, we can do that. Now let's try the second part. We're going to try using substitution to check if an equation is reasonable. So this is about thinking in real life and thinking, does this equation make physical sense in the real world? And we're going to use an example that's close to some of your hearts if you watch a lot of YouTube, which is the number of subscribers on a channel. So let's start with that. Let's start with the variables in this real life situation. So let's say y is the number of, chunkier. Y is the number of subscribers on a YouTube channel. And I'm just going to shorten that to subs. So the number of subscribers on a YouTube channel. And there's lots of different things that the number of subscribers depends on, but just for simplicity's sake, let's say for this particular channel, it depends on how many videos they've posted so far. So we're going to say our second variable is the number of videos posted. Now, obviously we're oversimplifying a little here, but we don't want to make it too complicated yet, because that might make the maths a little bit too tricky. So we'll just assume that this is the main thing that affects the number of subscribers. Okay. Now, there's two possible equations here that we're going to test out. Equation 1 and equation 2. And we want to try and decide which equation makes more sense for this situation with the YouTube subs and the number of videos posted. So equation 1, let's say it's y equals 500 times x. And let's say equation 2 is y equals x take away 500. So which equation makes more sense? Some of you might be able to look at it and know straight away, but let's use substitution to check. In this case, and when we're testing any equation, we want to choose a value to substitute. And we want to choose something that's kind of within the realm of possibilities. So let's choose a value for x to test these equations with. And I'm going to say in this case that it's going to be 100 videos. That seems like a reasonable amount of videos for a channel to post. You could pick whatever number you want here. It doesn't have to be 100. I've just picked 100 because I think that's a good number of videos that a channel would have posted. So choose any value that you think is reasonable to test your equations with. And then we're going to substitute that value into each equation to see what we get. So for equation 1, it's 500 times x. So we're going to go 500 times those 100 videos. And that would give us, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So my answer is going to have 4 zeros. So we've got 50,000 for equation 1. And remember, if we look back at our variables, y is the number of subscribers on a YouTube channel, right? So this equation says that if we have 100 videos, we'd have 50,000 subscribers, which, I don't know, seems reasonable if it's a good YouTube channel or a not so great YouTube channel. 50,000 subscribers, that seems reasonable to me. It's not unrealistic. It's not impossible. So we're going to put a tick next to that and say, yeah, that equation's pretty reasonable, at least for that value that we tested. Let's test this second equation now, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our equation and we're going to sub this x equals 100 videos into it and see what we get. So let's put in that 100. And now we get 100 take away 500, which is negative 400. Uh-oh, that does not make sense. How could you have negative 400 subscribers? That's a bit silly, right? It's not really possible in this situation. So we would say that this equation is not reasonable because it's not possible to have negative 400 subscribers. So what we've done here is we've chosen a value to substitute into the equations to test out whether the answer we get makes sense or not. And you can do this for any equation. Just remember that you need to choose a value to substitute that kind of makes sense. Like if I chose 1,000,000 videos here, that would be a little bit silly. So choose a value that makes sense, put it into each equation, and have a look at the answers. Do those answers make sense for the situation? That's it from me. Good luck with the skill, and if you have any questions, let your teacher know. See you next time.